Alright, boys and girls, it's Mr. G, and I'm back, and we're continuing with our animated series here dealing with symbols. And we are going to move forward where we left off. Last time we were here, going back to Animate, we had made our flowers, and we had 3 of them. We turned them into symbols. We saw how when we edit one of them by clicking into one of those symbols, I can double click and go into the edit the symbol. This one's called Dancing Flower. If I were to adjust the color of one symbol, it's going to adjust the color of all the symbols. Now you might be saying, well, why didn't this one change, Mr. G? Well, because we're on this one frame in the leaves here, and that, remember, we started these on different frames. Somewhere in here we will move, and that one frame will turn purple on the other one. You can see it turns back green. Okay, so that's why. But that is essentially where we left off. You can see that I also, and then once you're done editing your symbols, you can just go back up here and hit scene 1 or go back, and it goes back to your regular scene. So that is that symbol there. Now I am going to add a sun in here. Let's go ahead and we'll just delete this layer here just to start here. Now you see I've added a couple things. I added a background. I just went to get my shape tool up here, and I'm just going to poke out the eyes of my flower here. So my symbols and my flowers are off. My background right here is simply a shape of green with a fill of a gradient. So I grabbed a shape here, and in my shape I just took, you can pick what fill, you can pick a gradient here, you also have your color palette, you can adjust that to your heart's delight, and then we also have just another shape up here for a sky, just as simple as that. So that's what I put in the background, just to kind of explain, because it looks a little different here. Also, I used the very same technique that we used in the first video to make the flower a symbol, and I changed and made my face a little bit more complicated here. So that's how I did that. So again, if I were to go into my dancing flower with my move tool, bang bang, you can see that I can go into this particular symbol. There's that symbol, and if I were to change that, it would change all instances of it. So you can see I'm in flower petals inside of dancing flower inside of scene 1. So that's how those kind of work. So those more complex symbols that we're using, again, save us some drawing time so we don't have to redraw everything. Okay, now moving forward, we're going to add one more thing to this before I cut you loose and let you make your own creative decisions. Okay, I want to add a sun to this background. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and get my brush here. I'm going to make this new layer, and we're going to use a symbol again, but we're going to use it in a different way. Okay, so I'm just going to get again black, and I am going to draw a sun here. I'm going to get my bucket. I'm going to fill that with a happy yellow here. There's my sun. Oops, Command Z. I don't know why that didn't fill that. Oh, because I'm on the background. Command Z. Command Z. Let's try that all again. I'm going to make a new layer. That new layer I'm going to call sun so I don't make the same mistake. I'm going to go ahead and I'll lock these for just a second. My sun's right here. I'm going to get on my first layer here. When I zoom in here, I'm going to get my brush. I will get black on here. And I am going to make a circle. I'm going to fill it for my sun. That's going to be filled with my happy yellow here, like so. There is my sun. Okay. Now we want to make this a to go across the sky is what we want to do here. So what I want to do is make it go from here to here across the sky here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I'm on my first frame here, and I'm going to kind of place it, Command Z, make sure you go and drag over all of that so we get the whole thing. Let's say I just take it right off the screen. We'll just have it come off the screen. Okay. Now I am going to make this into a motion tween, which again is going to help us out as well. To do that, I have to convert it to a symbol. So again, I'm going to start by converting this to a symbol. If you try to make a motion tween without making it a symbol, it will give you a little pop-up and let you know that you need to convert it to a symbol, so that's helpful. So in my frame here, there, I'm just going to click anywhere inside of my file, and I'm going to create motion tween. Now, we talked about in class, we have classic tween, motion tween. I generally always do a motion tween just because it's a lot more editable and you have a lot more options. Classic tween is like the classic Flash, Adobe Flash type, Macromedia Flash type tween, and it's kind of the earlier technology. So this way you'll see that you've got a tween now. Once you have a tween, your layer will be yellow. So that's kind of good to note that once you see that yellow, you know you have a motion tween active in there. Now all we need to do is go to our last frame of there, and I'm just simply going to move my sun where I want it to move. A little further right off thing. And you can see we get this line here, okay? So if I go ahead and play now, it's going to go across there. Very groovy, right? So, and additionally, I'm going to go ahead and pause here. You can take your move tool, and if you get close to your line, you can edit that line as well. So we'll go ahead and pull that up, and we'll go ahead and see how that looks. Okay, everything looks really good, but it's moving really fast across the sky. So I kind of want to slow it down. So one thing you can do to slow your animations down, or parts of your animation, is to add frames, right? So just adding blank frames. So I'm going to go ahead and pause here. I'm just going to click in the middle, kind of anywhere, and I'm just going to add frames to everything because I don't want my flowers to stop dancing. I'm going to go ahead, and they're looping, so I'm going to go ahead and hold down here, and I'm going to hit F5. F5 is going to give me more frames, and you can see it's going to just fill on out there. Move me out of the way here, and I'm going to hit F5. Getting back on here, I'm going to hit F5, and we'll take it out to about 40 frames there. Okay, now I'm going to push play again, and you can see, although my flowers keep dancing kind of at the same rate, now my sun has slowed way down. Okay, so we'll have another lesson just talking about speed. Okay, let's make one more change here. Let's go ahead and pause, and in my tween, let's make my sun, when it gets up here to the apex at 20 frames, let's change the size of it. Let's just make it bigger. So I'm going to hold down shift with my size to keep it in the center. And we'll make a big old sun up there, and it'll kind of crest out of the frame and then come back down. Now I'm going to need to go and change this because that tween is going to keep that in there. So I'm going to go ahead and hold down shift again, and I'm going to take it back down to its original size. Now that tween is going to take my sun, and it'll get bigger, and then it will shrink back down as it goes across. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit play and check out what I have. Okay, everything looks like it's going pretty good. Now one thing I see, a little mistake I have, is that my actual sun is kind of coming in front of my flowers, and I want that to go behind my flowers. Right, so remember, just like layers in Photoshop, I can take and I can drag up and down the stack here. So I'm going to just take my sun, I'm going to go underneath of the dancing flowers, but on top of my background. And now we should be able to play that, and my sun will be behind there. Alright, so I am going to let you move forward and make some creative decisions here in order to add your own creativity to this animation at this point. Okay?